Alright, so cordless power tools. Somebody out there is going to be going down that rabbit hole or currently going down that rabbit hole. And I'd love to be able to help. You can see that I've got DeWalt and I've got in Milwaukee. I've had the Milwaukee the longest. These were the original kit, 18 volt hammer drill and 18 volt quarter-inch impact, and it came with two 2 amp hour lithium-ion batteries, both of which still work, which is awesome. This is brushless. I bought this as an extra, as a backup. This is a brushed version, and then brushless hammer drill. As far as driving lags, this brushed Milwaukee will outdrive this DeWalt XR and this brushless, this older, granted, brushless Milwaukee. Driving deck screws, you won't be able to really tell the difference between them. But this will outdrive lags. My biggest gripe on the DeWalt overall is the battery. Is pulling the battery off and putting it back on, and then the indicator, and this is the only battery, the 2 amp hour battery is momentary on the level. The rest of them, it's on off. There's no momentary pause there. The Milwaukee is way easier to get off and on, and then they're all momentary, and it's on the front as opposed to the back, which I don't know why. Maybe because years, 8-10 years of using this, it's just what I know now. But these are all on the back, and some of them you can't see. Like on the saw, you can't tell, you can't get to it, you can't even push the damn thing. So that's my biggest gripe overall with the DeWalt is the battery. Not that the battery performance, but the battery indicator and how it comes on and off. These two are just straight up impact. You don't have any kind of selector switch. This one has a selector switch that DeWalt does. So it's got a screw, and like one is screw, which if it was just a little bit more it'd be perfect, but it is what it is for like roof screw or metal screws and stuff. And then you got 2 and 3 power and speed switches. The ergonomics on the DeWalt for me, big hands, much better. The anvil on the DeWalt is not as good as the Milwaukee. It's not as smooth. It's been broken. It's been used plenty. At this point, it should be easy, and it just kind of gets hung up sometimes. The more you use it, the more it gets hung up. But it could be single sample. But overall, it's a pretty good drill. The light on the DeWalt obviously is way better. But these are older Milwaukees, so the fuel very well probably has something better now. It's probably very equal to the DeWalt. But driving deck screws, you're not going to be able to tell the difference between them. So I went down to, I first got the Milwaukee because all I had was Home Depot close by. Or I had Home Depot and Lowe's. I never owned Milwaukee, so that's why I did that. Here I only have Lowe's and mom and pops, which I'm not against mom and pops, but it's hard to deal with, hard to contend with those Lowe's battery deals and free tools and stuff. So I decided to try out the Bowler DeWalt, and then I buy them in little kits, and then I like to buy my other tools separate. I don't know why. I'd probably save a lot of money if I just did it all in one go. So this is obviously a beat down Milwaukee hammer drill. I like the hammer drill function because it's like a gun, better to have it, not need it, than to need it, not have it. So I like having the hammer drill. Do I use it very often? No, but it's nice. It's nice to have when you're trying to run a masonry bit through 3 inches of concrete, like a concrete pad or something. So I just like it, and it doesn't really add much weight or bulk, if any. The DeWalt is clearly a little bit longer. What is it? Maybe an inch longer? That's pretty significant. It's fatter. Everything about the DeWalt is bigger, but it's way more powerful. Like that thing, this is the older Milwaukee. It just can't sit in the same room as that DeWalt. So this is just a high and a low. This has got a high, medium, and low. And then so this is the light on the Milwaukee. okay at best. The chuck is not as good as the DeWalt on the Milwaukee. The Milwaukee chuck isn't as good as the DeWalt. But again, you got that. I like the battery of the Milwaukee better. But the one thing that stands the DeWalt XR out is the light. So you can change the intensity and then put it on high, and it'll stay on there for 20 minutes. And it's actually exceedingly bright. But man, if you're gonna be working in dark areas, the light on the DeWalt is just wicked good. Now, like I said, the fuel, the new Milwaukee may have a really good light too. I don't know, but I can tell you that the DeWalt light is really good. So if you're like off grid or something like that, and you don't have a lot of lighting, that DeWalt light is quite good. Like you can turn it on, and then it stays on for 20 minutes, and you could use that to do whatever you want. Like you could use just the light on the drill to use another drill or another tool to do your work or whatever. But anyway, and it'll stay. You can have it to where it turns off in a few seconds, or it'll stay on for 20 minutes and then turns off on its own. But the chuck on the DeWalt is better than the Milwaukee. And I checked the new fuel today at a mom and pop, and it was still the DeWalt. The DeWalt chuck to me was better. Yeah, so there's that. So basically, I would love to have the new fuel stuff, but the ergonomics of the DeWalt for me are just better than the Milwaukee. Not that really should hold a lot of weight, but anyway. I like them both. They're all quality tools. They're all the best that you can buy. And if you're looking for a really good bargain, it might be like Metabo, which you can get at Costco right now, a hammer drill and an 18-volt hammer drill and an impact for like $140, and it's got Costco's return. It's like lifetime. So if you break it, they'll take that son of a gun back. And Metabo has way better deals on their cordless nailers and staplers. Like they're half as much as the DeWalt and the Milwaukee. Now whether they're as good, I can't really say, because I don't own any of them, because I haven't shelled out the $300 for a finish nailer on either of these. So, but I know the Metabos are like $150, like $200, which is dramatically less. But anyway. So the Milwaukee, this is a 6.5-inch circular saw, and you can see like battery indicator, everything's right there, ready to, like bam, bam. It's real easy to swap on and off. This took a tumble off of a truss at about 20 odd feet, bent the shoe. It still works fine, but it has an issue with rocking on your work surface or on your material, and it's kind of annoying. I need to try to straighten it out, but I didn't drop it, somebody else dropped it. But the real winner chicken dinner of this saw, and this is the latest and greatest from DeWalt. This is like 8 years old or something. 6.5, which 6.5-inch blades are more expensive than the 7.25. But the winner on this is the fact that you can use I think it's a 6 millimeter Allen and a 5/8. I think it's a 5/8 wrench for the blade. That to me, that's just awesome, and it uses a little crappy Allen that everybody's got in their toolbox. They got 10 of them. It's either 3/16 or a 6 millimeter. I'm not sure which, but either way, you can buy a few or get them in little kits and just chuck them in there, and you got plenty of spares. The one thing about this saw, now this is the brushed version. It's old, blah blah. Is it's always been down on power, even brand new. I haven't seen a loss in power or anything like that, but even brand new, it just wasn't quite what I expected. Even though it was really good, it was still super handy. It'll cut, MDF, melamine, plywood, all that kind of stuff, no issues, But it's always been kind of down on power, whereas this absolute animal. I cut a 9/4 piece, so 2 1/4 inch thick, 6.5 foot long silver maple slab, and it acted like it wasn't even there. And it was an older blade that had at least one carbide missing off the blade. It's tons and tons of power. and it's got a Raptor hook. Now the Milwaukee probably has a Raptor hook now. Like I said, this is an older one. And I got this saw and the 8 amp hour battery for like 170 or 80 bucks. It was a really good deal, and I've been ultra pleased with this. The only gripe though is, I can't get, the battery indicator is right there, and it's, not momentary because it's not the 2 amp, but you can't get to it, and this just rubs me the wrong way. But it's got a Raptor hook, and everything else about it is good. And so I really like it. I think it's a pretty good saw. It'll definitely cut the heck out of some stuff. Big stuff too. And and then sawzalls or reciprocating saws. So I got this and the 2 5 amp hour batteries, where they're at, for $200 on a Black Friday deal. So it's a pretty good deal, I think. The DeWalt has a light. This particular Milwaukee doesn't. But I will say that the blade lock on the Milwaukee, I like it better. It's the tool's longer, so 3 or 4 inches longer. But the DeWalt has this like rotating collet, and it's not bad. I just don't know why. I just don't like it. But I like this. I like the Milwaukee lock way better. And then this DeWalt will just pull it. Pretty much refuses to work on a 2 amp hour or less battery. It'll start cutting and it gets hung up and it just doesn't have the power. And I don't know what the deal is. Whereas this one, you can run it on the 2 amp hour battery until the battery's dead, and it's the same. It's basically the same from when it starts to it stops till the battery's dead. So I don't know. So you got the blade lock. I like it better on the Milwaukee. This is more compact. It definitely has more power when you're using an appropriate battery. 5 amps or better, at least from what I've got sitting here. And then that light is nice. Like I said, Milwaukee probably has one that's pretty much apples to apples now. These two are clearly not, but it's what I have. And then you get your oscillating tools. I think they're basically the same. It depends on, the blade. I think the blade matters more on those tools. And then I've got a Milwaukee grinder, and it straight eats batteries. But it does pretty good, especially with the bigger batteries. It does pretty well. But the one thing is the DeWalt packages, like getting the batteries and the free tools and stuff like that. You just can't contend. It's just such a good deal. It really, really is a good deal. So my biggest gripe is the orientation of the battery. I like the momentary illumination. Other than that, like if I was going down the rabbit hole, I would just, between these two, because, this is more like a Home Depot brand, it's more of a Lowe's brand, that and Cobalt. I would get whatever I could get the most useful tools for the amount of money I had to spend. So that may be Ryobi, that may be Metabo. The only one I can tell you I won't mess with is Bosch. I think it's junk. Their cordless tools just aren't very good. I've got the 6-inch oscillating sander, the big boy. I've got the 5-inch small guy for doing trim and stuff like that. And then I've got a Bosch, an older American-made Bosch 1620 router, which was like the staple router, and then a laser level, cordless laser level that's still in the box. It's never been opened. Actually, the wrapping's still on it. But I can say that every time I put hand on the Bosch cordless tools, they lack on power. The batteries don't last long. They don't seem to hold up when I am messing with them. So I just won't buy them. If I was going to buy something else other than this, I think it'd probably be Metabo, mainly because they have a lifetime guarantee on their tools, not the batteries, but the tools. Batteries aren't terribly expensive, and their tools are a little bit less expensive than the DeWalt and the Milwaukee. Granted, they're probably not as good, but if you're just doing this kind of here and there, I'd say that's the jam, because you can get nailers, you can afford way more and have a more complete set. You know, this isn't even a complete set, but this is, I don't know, you know, 1,500 in tools or better. I don't know, something like that. Between everything when they were bought new. So between everything I've got, but the DeWalt chainsaw, the little 12-inch chainsaw, is quite good. My neighbor's got that. It's quite good. It's surprisingly good. The Milwaukee, I'm not crazy. The chainsaw, somebody else has the Milwaukee chainsaw. I'm not crazy about it. So, for the top, I don't even know if they got a chainsaw. But yeah, so this is my rabbit hole that I went down, and you know, the differences, the pros and the cons. At least for me, I wish it was more of an apples to apples, but you know, I don't have another $1,000 to spend on tools to make it apples to apples. So. Anyway, I hope that helps somebody. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you all.